Your 40s are supposed to be your peak earning years, the decade where everything finally clicks financially. You've climbed the ladder, you're making real money, and retirement is still far enough away that you can relax a bit. Except that's complete fiction. Your 40s are actually a financial minefield where one wrong step can detonate your entire financial future. And most men walk straight into these explosions without even seeing them coming. The average American in their 40s has a median retirement savings of $208,390. Sounds decent until you realize that by 40, you should have saved around 3 times your annual salary. If you're making $70,000 a year, you should have $210,000 saved. Most don't. They're behind before the real financial bombs even start dropping. What makes this decade so dangerous isn't just that expenses increase. It's that multiple financial catastrophes converge simultaneously, and each one has the power to permanently derail your wealth building. Let's start with the bomb nobody talks about openly: divorce. Your 40s represent peak divorce years in America, with most marriages that end doing so between ages 35 and 44, specifically between years 7 and 10 of marriage. You know why? Because raising young kids drains everything: time, energy, money. Parents struggle to stay connected while juggling childcare and sleep deprivation. Career stress ramps up as you're trying to climb the ladder and earn more. The tug of war between work and home life creates constant tension. Here's where it gets worse. A 2023 University of Chicago study found that marriages where the wife earns more than the husband are 50% more likely to end in divorce. Even a $5,000 difference in salary increases the risk. The financial impact is devastating. After divorce, men's household income falls by 23% on average. That doesn't sound catastrophic until you factor in what happens next. You're now supporting 2 households instead of 1. Child support and spousal support obligations reduce your take-home pay. Your retirement savings get split or drained entirely. The National Institute for Retirement Security found that divorced men have significantly less in retirement accounts compared to their married counterparts. You're not just losing money today. You're losing the compound growth that money would have generated for the next 20 years. That $100,000 that gets split in a divorce at 42? At 8% returns, that would have been $466,000 by age 62, gone. But divorce is just one explosive device in this minefield. The next one hits almost everyone, whether they see it coming or not. Welcome to the sandwich generation. Almost half of adults aged 40 to 59 find themselves caring for both aging parents and their children simultaneously. 71% of sandwich generation caregivers are between 40 and 59. Men and women are equally likely to be trapped in this financial vice. The numbers are brutal. Sandwich generation caregivers spend about $10,000 per year on caregiving expenses. That's money coming out of your pocket, not going into your retirement account. 30% struggle to meet their basic monthly expenses. 15% are providing primary financial support to both an elderly parent and a dependent child at the same time. Every dollar redirected toward care today is a dollar not compounding for tomorrow. Picture this scenario. Your father gets diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 68. Your mother initially handles care, but then she develops health issues herself. Now you're managing medical appointments, coordinating care services, handling financial affairs for both parents while raising your own teenage daughter, and trying to maintain your job. You're spending roughly 30 hours a week on caregiving duties, often at the expense of your career. This isn't a hypothetical. This is the reality for millions of men right now. 95% of sandwich generation adults say caregiving has impacted their life, with personal finances ranking as the top area affected at 47%. The emotional toll compounds the financial stress. You're watching your retirement savings stagnate or shrink while you're supposed to be in your maximum contribution years. Raising a child to age 18 costs an average of $230,000 in the U.S. That's before college. Now add the out-of-pocket spending you're contributing toward your parents' care. Add the employment-related costs when you cut back on hours or miss opportunities for advancement because you're managing care responsibilities. The financial strain doesn't just slow your wealth building, it reverses it entirely. Among sandwich generation caregivers with credit card debt, the average total owed is $12,662. 40% say they made a financial decision they regret due to mental strain from caregiving. Over half report they've made a sacrifice to their own financial security to provide care. You're supposed to be hitting your stride financially. Instead, you're being pulled in opposite directions by people who depend on you. The truly terrifying part, these aren't even the biggest bombs in the minefield. The career instability, the lifestyle creep, the college funding pressure, they're all still ahead, each one capable of destroying decades of financial progress in a matter of months. The employment landscape is the next explosion waiting to happen. Labor Department data shows 1 in 3 American men aren't working or looking for a job. The labor market has shifted dramatically since early 2025. Most new opportunities are concentrated in healthcare and private education, industries traditionally dominated by women. Meanwhile, male-dominated sectors like manufacturing, transportation, and mining have been shedding jobs. Between January 2025 and March 2026, the U.S. economy created 369,000 jobs. 94% went to women, 6% went to men. This isn't a temporary blip. This is a fundamental restructuring of the economy that leaves men in their 40s with outdated skill sets and vanishing opportunities. When you lose your job at 45, the search takes significantly longer than it would have at 25. You're supposed to be in your peak earning years. Instead, you're competing against younger workers who'll accept lower salaries and older workers who can't afford to retire. Your mortgage doesn't care that the job market shifted. Your retirement account doesn't pause its need for contributions while you figure this out. A 6-month cash reserve becomes absolutely critical, but most men don't have it because they've been funding everything else first. Then there's the lifestyle creep that destroys wealth silently. The 30s and 40s are prime years for this. You earn more money, you spend more money. Better restaurants, nicer vacations, upgraded cars, convenience spending that adds up to thousands monthly. None of this is automatically bad, until you realize the increased spending consumed money that should have gone towards savings or debt reduction. You justify it because you're working hard, you deserve it, everyone else is doing it, but everyone else is also going to hit 60 with insufficient retirement savings and wonder what happened. Decisions made in your 40s are biting people now. The financial acumen was never developed because it's not taught in schools. Young adults who aren't financially literate overspend and underinvest, then carry those patterns into middle age where the consequences become catastrophic. The college funding dilemma hits during these same years. Your kids are approaching college age. You've been told their entire lives that college is the ticket to success. What nobody mentions is how student debt can hamstring graduates for decades. The average college student now graduates with nearly $30,000 in loans. Tuition increases show no signs of slowing. Many fathers feel obligated to help fund their children's education, sometimes to their own financial destruction. Who hasn't wanted to help their kids get ahead? But when you prioritize their college fund over your retirement account, you're making a choice that can't be undone. Retirement regrets frequently center on this exact trade-off. People wish they'd funded their own future instead of sacrificing everything for children who then had to support them later anyway. Adult children are living at home longer or returning after college. The extended financial dependence stretches budgets that were already maxed out. You thought by 45 you'd be done raising kids and could finally focus on retirement. Instead, your 24-year-old is back in their childhood bedroom, unemployed or underemployed, and you're covering expenses you never budgeted for. College tuition, early adult financial shortfalls, extended dependence. It's all happening simultaneously with caring for aging parents. 51% of sandwich generation members report sacrificing their own financial security to provide care. 45% carry credit card debt averaging over $12,600. 40% made a financial decision they regret due to mental strain from caregiving. Healthcare costs add another layer of financial pressure that most men underestimate. Health status is the main reason people transition out of the workplace into retirement, especially for lower-income workers. You might face your own health issues that impact earning capacity. You might need to provide care for family members with health problems. Either way, the costs are substantial and unpredictable. Rising insurance premiums, out-of-pocket medical expenses, the need to save for future healthcare costs in retirement, all of this competes for limited resources during the decade when you should be maximizing contributions. Here's what makes the 40s uniquely dangerous. Every single one of these financial bombs can be survived individually. Divorce is devastating, but recoverable. Sandwich generation caregiving is manageable with planning. Job loss is survivable with emergency funds. But most men in their 40s aren't facing one of these challenges. They're facing 3 or 4 simultaneously. The compound effect is what destroys decades of financial progress. You can't save for retirement when you're supporting aging parents and adult children while trying to keep your marriage together and worrying about job security. The math simply doesn't work. This is why Americans in their 40s have a median retirement savings of only $208,390 when they should have 3 times their annual salary saved. The gap between where they are and where they should be keeps widening. For a 40-year-old, each dollar still has the ability to turn into $7 by retirement, but only if you actually save it, only if it has time to compound, only if you survive the minefield long enough to reach the other side. That's the reality nobody wants to acknowledge. Your 40s aren't your peak earning years, they're your peak financial danger years. The question isn't whether you'll step on one of these financial landmines. The question is, how many will detonate before you make it through? Most men enter their 40s completely unprepared for what's coming. They're focused on career advancement and lifestyle upgrades while the real threats assemble in the shadows. By the time they see the danger, it's already too late. The damage is done. But here's what separates the men who make it through intact from those who don't. Awareness. You can't dodge a bomb you don't see coming. Now you see them. The divorce risk that peaks between 35 and 44. The sandwich generation trap that drains $10,000 annually. The employment instability that leaves 1 in 3 men without work. The lifestyle creep that consumes money meant for your future. The college funding pressure that forces impossible choices. Each one is predictable. Each one is survivable with the right preparation. Your 40s will test everything you think you know about money. They'll expose every weak point in your financial foundation. They'll force you to make choices between competing priorities with no clear right answer. But they'll also show you exactly what you're made of financially, whether you can delay gratification when everyone around you is spending, whether you can maintain discipline when life is pulling you in 5 directions simultaneously, whether you have the courage to prioritize your future over your present comfort. The men who emerge from their 40s financially intact aren't the ones who earned the most. They're the ones who saw the minefield for what it was and walked through it with their eyes open.